now this had killed the market for, of course. So now this had killed the market for, of course.
I'm ready.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, watching me on Black Fire Network. My name is INNOSSETU. Together, I'm going to be with my colleague, Africa Malia. Should be coming. Actually, she will be finding me on the way, and she will come and join me. Let me hope your day has been so nice. For those that are watching me outside Africa, let me hope your morning is very, very fine, and it is nice. I guess it is around 7 in the US, around 7 depending on or naturally depending on states where you are. But let me hope you're doing good. Let me hope your day has been so nice. This is Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, and of course it is today is the 3rd of September. This is a new month. But of course we're glad that we are still living. We still breathe, and we're still living. We still are, of course, talking about of course issues concerned with the black people. Yeah, if you're watching me for the first time from YouTube, endeavor to subscribe. Yeah, if you subscribe in, there is that added advantage for you. Whenever shows are coming in, you're notified on your phone or on your laptop. So subscribing is, of course, is crucial for you, for people that are watching us here for the first time. And there are also other, of course, Black Fire Network channels like. Black Hot Fire Network Live and Black Hot Fire Network. So endeavor to visit those channels. There are also great shows from our colleagues that, of course, that make the shows that side. Yeah, yeah. Today's topic is about, of course, the untold invasions made by the black people. So there is something that very many people actually argue about, and of course, and there is a way Africans will let ourselves down because of the ignorance that, of course, is backed by mind control, the mind that is controlled, of course, by the Western world or by the colonizers that colonized us here in Africa. But when you look at our daily lives, most of the invasions that our eyes actually look on, these are invasions that were done or were made by the black people. it is unbelievable that actually without these invasions, we could actually, I guess, how the world would be looking like if at all these African invasions or Black people invasions were not there. So this is a message to all Blacks that are watching me right about now. Is like we don't have to let ourselves down. We are creators. We are, of course, we are knowledgeable. All we need is to motivate ourselves and, of course, to address the real issues, to understand the goal that is within us. Because most of the people, actually, most of our ancestors, they were strong. Most of actually our ancestors were brave. Our ancestors were intelligent, just because they believed in themselves, despite of the colonialism that happened here. But these people, they still had a sense of uh, um, a sense of creativity. So today in this show, we are going, of course, to go through actually these inventions that were made by Black. However, most of them, the attribution is not made. Is not. They are not actually. These are. They are not attributed to these inventions that are made. Most of the things they are attributed to the white people. So we are going to go through invasion by invasion. So you see how, of course, Black people, we have, of course, we hold this earth in almost everything that is done in the daily lives here. When we look at, there is of course, cabinet bed. In the 1885, Sarah Corde became the first Black woman to receive a U.S. patent. She moved to Chicago and opened a furniture store. It was there she came up with an industry changing idea that brought more, of course, residents with the limited space into her store. The other is, of course, the potato chips. George Cram was working as a chef at a resort in New York. A customer sent his dish of French fries back to the kitchen, claiming that they weren't good and he literally feed. So Cram cut the potatoes as thinly as possible, fried them until they were burnt crisps, and threw a generous handful of salt on top. Thus, the chip was born. So there is also, this is also amazing. The gas mask of Garrett, of course, Morgan developed the what he called the safety hood after noticing how many firefighters were killed by smoke on the job. The hood, of course, which went over the head, featured tubes connected to wet sponges that filtered out smoke and provided fresh oxygen. There is also the protective mail, where Philip B. Downing created a mailbox design that featured another outer door and an interceptor door to avoid, of course, parcels being stolen. This, of course, safety device allowed mailboxes to be set up everywhere. There is also the blood bank, where Charles Richard True became interested in researching the preservation of blood where he was studying at Columbia University. Drew discovered a method of separating red blood cells from the plasma and then storing the two components separately. This new process allowed blood to be stored for more than a week, which was a maximum at the time. So Drew documented these findings in a paper that led to the first blood bank in the US. Improved the ironing board. In the late 19th century, the ironing board was improved by Sarah Bonney, one of the first Black women in the US history to receive a patent. She created a narrower and curved design, making it easier to iron garments. Bonney's design morphed into the modern board that we use today. Home security system. An African American nurse, Mary Van Britten Brown, devised an early security unit for her own home. She had her husband took out patent for the system. In the same year, they were awarded the patent 3 years later. In 1969, home security system, commonly used today, took various elements for her design. The three-light traffic light. We see that Garrett Morgan was the first Black person in Cleveland, Ohio, to own a car. after he witnessed a severe car accident at the intersection in the city. He expanded on the current traffic light by adding a yield component warning oncoming drivers of an impending stop. Refrigerated trucks. Frederick MC Kennedy Jones created a roof-mounted cooling system that was used to refrigerate goods on trucks during the extended transportation. In the mid-1930s, he received a patent for his invention in 1940 and co-founded the U.S. Thermal Control Company, later known as the Thermo King. There is also the automatic, of course, elevator doors, where Alexander Miles took out a patent in the 1887 for the mechanism that automatically opens and closes elevator shafts doors. And of course, his designs are largely reflected in elevators used today. Electret, of course, microphone. Dr. James E. West co-invented a foil electret microphone, which was less expensive to produce than the typically used condenser microphone. The color IBM PC monitor, and of course the Gizzard chip. You can of course thank Mark Dean for co-inventing the color monitor. Without his invention, we would still be typing in the colorless interwave. There is also the Super Sucker, where summer just wouldn't be the same without Ronnie. Of course, Ronnie Johnson's invention. Johnson was an, of course, aerospace engineer for NASA who happened to invent a popular children's toy. There is also the tissue holder, where Mary Davidson invented both the tissue holder while disabled from the multiple arteries. There is also the peanut butter. For this is extremely crazy, and actually, I'm one of those people that enjoy peanut butter. I enjoy peanut butter so much. I like it. However, it makes some people grow a big ass stuff. But everyone and their dog can thank George Washington Carver for invention of the peanut butter. So, uh, the other issue is about, of course, Adelesa Fasco, where Patricia Booth, an orthophorogiosit and a laser scientist invented a device and a technique used to remove cataracts and, of course, revive patients' eyesight. Automatic gear shift, where Richard Spikes created an automatic gear shift, helping people drive up hills everywhere. Clothes dryer, where George T. Thompson, of course, created clothes dryer in the 1892. Dustpan, thanks to Leod P. Ray, we can, of course, sweep things out from under the rug. Folding chair, John Padde created the folding chair. There is a golf trees, which was created by Dr. George Grant. Ice cream scooper, Alfred L. Corley invented this. A round mower, where John Albert made the overall mower, bringing better of construction rotary blades and of course allowed the cutting closer to the building. Round sprinkler, this invention of course by Joseph A. Smith. A modern toilet, that was Thomas Elkins. For your, of course, he created these modern toilets that we see, where your bathroom breaks certainly wouldn't be, of course, as comfortable as you see today. The mop, Thomas W. Stewart, of course, Stewart created the mop. Reversible baby stroller, Williams Richardson. Drag queens, William Dorsey Swan is highly regarded as the first drag queen in the US. Rogomania, which Dapper Dan did this, and many other inventions. The coin changer by James Boer, biscuit cutter, airplane propelling, rotary engine, car copra, letterbox, stainless steel pads, disposable syringe, corn planter, cotton planter, of course, street sweepers, horse breed pit, horses hue, train alarm, image cutter. Oh, a lot. Like a lot of inventions have been made by black people. Uh, However, like today, black people, like we don't want to work. of course, like we have not had very many people talk about these acknowledgements. However much the whites actually did improvements, uh, they did improvements in these, of course, invasions black people made. But it is the fact remains that black people did stuff. So you're going to allow me, guys, of course, share some stuff here about the topic that we, of course, are trying to talk about today, so that we can get to understand more about what Black people, of course, have done. Uh,
creations, and a lot more wouldn't exist today, have long created pioneering works. But because they lived in a highly segregated nation and were victims of racism, their work rarely got them the compensation and recognition it deserved. Their inventions were often whitewashed. For this black people, the kind of inventions that we should have learned in school. One such invention was blood banks. Charles R. Drew was an African-American scientist and surgeon born in Washington, D.C. He was also a pioneer in the field of blood storage and blood transfusion. Because he lived in a period of intense racial discrimination, he actively opposed the segregation of blood donors. He advocated for fair treatment of black doctors and was recognized as the father of the blood bank. He discovered and developed countless blood banking techniques.
He was one of the pioneers that discovered that basically you can remove the plasma, liquid portion of blood, and actually lyophilize, freeze dry plasma, and store those proteins for prolonged periods of time. And really, it was breakthrough technology in terms of being able to provide some kind of a transfusion support with protein during war efforts.
His impact can still be felt today, with approximately 20% of donated red blood cells being used to treat patients with blood cancer. Another invention is the traffic lights. When automobiles first hit the market, navigating the streets in America became a chaotic nightmare. Horses, pedestrians, bicycles, and streetcars all tried with motor vehicles for the right to take the streets. The first traffic lights that were used in the US appeared in the 1910s. They were mounted on intersections and only had two lights, red and green. But drivers didn't have enough time to react, and this caused a lot of traffic accidents. Garrett Morgan was the son of an enslaved parent from Ohio. Even though he only finished elementary school, he came up with a remarkable solution that would completely revamp the way people use traffic lights.
It was a madhouse out there. Drivers jockeying for position, changing lanes, or turning without even glancing to see if somebody else was barreling through the intersection. Enter Clevelander Garrett Morgan, credited with inventing this first-of-a-kind traffic light. Before the light went up near East 105th and Euclid Avenue, a light bulb went off in Garrett Morgan's.
In 1923, Morgan patented the first three-way traffic signal, the traffic light we use today. Morgan introduced the yellow light to help inform drivers of when they had to prepare for traffic to stop. His invention helped transform modern America
Good
and
morning,
create a safer space
Jabba. How
for
are you
both
doing
drivers
today?
and pedestrians. But when it came to safety, nothing could outmatch the home security system. Marie Van Britten Brown.
Today, over 24 million households have home security cameras. But did you know the first one was created by a nurse from Queens? Explore the untold story of Marie Van Britten Brown.
A black woman born in Jamaica, Queens, New York, invented the very first home security system with her husband. She received a patent for it in 1969. Her concept was very different from the one we use today. It was more complex and very expensive to make. As a result, it wasn't manufactured on a large scale. However, it provided the necessary guidelines to create modern CCTV security systems. The next invention on this list is the cloth dryer. George T. Sampson was a black man who invented the early version of the automatic clothes dryer back in 1892. This device came with a frame that would allow the user to suspend garments above a stove so that they could dry faster. Before Sampson's innovation, clothes dryers in England and France took the form of ventilators. They were basically barrels with holes. Sampson's invention also functioned as a ventilator, but eliminated the necessity for an open flame. It was a lot more practical and efficient. Another interesting invention was the automatic elevator doors. In the mid 1800s, people didn't like to ride elevators because they were unsafe. At
Okay,
first,
okay,
they were an industrial
Jabbar.
invention. They were used for moving
Okay,
factory
okay,
goods.
okay,
With the
Jabbar.
invention
That's
of the
great
safety
that
brake
you're
and other
listening
safety
in.
precautions,
That's
elevators
great.
became more personal and safer to use. Passengers communicated directly with an elevator operator who guided the traffic. This person opened and closed doors, told the people where to stand, and so on.
It just seemed unbelievably fantastic. Tourists to America in the 1850s and 60s went out of their minds when they encountered an elevator. There's a story of the Duke of Devonshire who went to New York and he tried an elevator and then he wrote home to his family to say, "I just rode on a vertical railroad."
But some buildings didn't have an operator, and there were many people who accidentally fell to their deaths because they had to manually operate the doors. Alexander Miles decided to improve the elevator experience even further. This black inventor came up with doors that would automatically open and close. He introduced a series of rollers and levers that would automate the entire process. Another invention that became widely available was the folding cabinet bed. In 1885, Sarah Good made history as the first black woman to obtain a US patent. After moving to Chicago, she opened up a furniture shop. It was in this store that she invented a groundbreaking idea, the folding cabinet bed. Since most people lived in smaller homes, they didn't have enough space to fit their furniture. So she came up with a concept that would accommodate small spaces and still be useful for daily use. Another invention is the gas mask. Garrett Morgan, the same man who invented the 3-light traffic lights, came up with another idea that solved a serious problem that plagued scientists for years: smoke inhalation. But this invention was born out of a tragedy. On March 25, 1911, there was a fire at the Triangle Shirtwaist Company in New York.
The Triangle factory fire was devastating around the country because it highlighted the need for reform in safety practices.
146 workers died, most of them from carbon monoxide poisoning. Morgan, who used to work in the garment sector, wanted to create a portable product that helped reduce the risk of inhaling smoke.
Jib, these whites actually keep on actually attributing these inventions that were made by blacks to the whites. They keep on saying like, like this, the such and such a white doctor improved in this, of course, in this invention that was made by the black. Actually, they don't even say that it was made by blacks. They attribute everything to themselves. When you look at actually our, like the entire lives that we live in today, all these things were created by black people. So shout out to all black people wherever you are.
Morgan's inventor brain began to think. He imagined a situation where firefighters could enter a raging blaze, wearing a breathing device that gave them time to rescue victims.
He invented the very first safety hood and smoke protector. Next on our list is the improved ironing board. The Chinese started ironing clothes 2,000 years ago. The original iron was made of copper, stone, and iron pieces, baked on fire, and then applied to fabrics. But people needed more practical and improved versions. They wanted a durable and light ironing board that could be used for ironing custom-fitted dresses made with tiny waistlines and corsets. Every woman in the 19th century had trouble ironing these garments. They were tight at the wrists and puffy on the shoulders. Sarah Boone was a black woman who received a patent in 1892 for creating an ironing board that could handle these challenges. Another invention is the refrigerated trucks. Before there was refrigerated transport, people used snow and blocks of ice to keep their products cool. In the 1800s, ice harvesting was a common practice. Ice blocks and salt were used for food storage, preservation, and food transportation, but it wasn't a reliable or safe option for long-distance travel. Frederick Jones revolutionized the industry. He invented the very first system for mobile refrigeration. Jones and Joseph Numero, a local merchant, founded Thermo King Corporation.
When his boss asked him to figure out a way to keep food from spoiling during overland transportation, Fred Jones went to work. What he came up with was the world's first system for refrigerated transportation.
It's time for us to unlearn all the BS they taught us and learn who we truly are. That's exactly why we made our new Hidden History Workbook. It's a free workbook designed for those that want to wake up and go deeper than the whitewashed version of our history. This will only be available for a limited time. Click the link in our description to grab yours now for free. a company that produced mobile refrigeration devices. It soon became an international corporation. Jones was the first Black person in America to receive the National Medal of Technology. Next is the tissue holder. Toilet paper was often stored on hooks or shelves and could easily get wet or dirty. Mary Beatrice Davidson Kenner was a Black woman who wanted to make convenient inventions that would help with everyday life. She invented the toilet paper holder, a device that could securely hold the roll in place and prevent the tissues from becoming contaminated. But Mary came up with other inventions, like the sanitary belt. The company that wanted to buy the belt rejected the invention the second they learned that a Black woman made it. Although she invented the belt in the 1920s, she couldn't get a patent until 30 years later. Back then, women could use tampons, but these products were deemed indecent, so women used rags and cloth instead. The sanitary belt gave women their freedom back up until the 1970s when maxi pads were invented. Another one of her inventions was the backwasher. It was a product you could mount on a bathtub wall or a shower and use it to wash your back clean. She received a patent for it in 1987. The backwasher Mary invented could be used for both cleansing and massaging the back. Before the backwasher, people used sponges and small pieces of fabric to scrub their bodies. Brushes with long handles were a popular choice for removing dead skin cells on the back, but it took time and effort to reach every area of the back. Next on our list is the gear shifting device. Richard Bowie Spikes was a brilliant Black inventor with 8 patents to his name, awarded in the 1900s.
Richard Bowie Spikes created a gear shifting device aimed to keep the gears for various speeds in constant mesh.
And what were these people using before?
He worked as a barber,
What were they
keeper,
using
and
before?
mechanic.
This
He was
invention
best
that
known
were
for his
made by
achievements in
our
automotive
own
technology.
people. What
Spikes
were they
developed a
using?
gear shifting mechanism intended to maintain consistent engagement between gears for different speeds. He wanted to enhance the functionality and efficiency of the automatic transmission by creating a system that allowed gears to work in sync. His innovation improved automatic transmission in the early 1900s. The man was busy. He also invented the beer tapper. Back when bars and taverns didn't have beer taps, alcohol was dispensed from a keg. But because it was hard to limit the constant exposure to oxygen when in use, the beer often went flat and lost its taste.
Draft beer can sometimes be fresher, certainly, often because of the way it's packaged. It's not exposed to light. It's kept cold the entire time in this country. Those are things that help maintain the freshness of the beer.
So, Spikes came up with a solution that would change the beer dispensing industry forever. He devised a pressure dispensing beer tap. The beer tapper made the process of serving beer more efficient, helped preserve its freshness, and allowed for more consistent pours. This technology is still used today. Another one of his inventions is the self-locking rack for billiard cues. If you've ever played pool, then you've definitely seen the rack. Before the 1900s, cue sticks were often disorganized, misplaced, and damaged. People would leave them leaning against the wall or wherever it was convenient. Spikes invented a rack that featured a mechanism that securely held the cues in place. It prevented the cue sticks from falling or being easily knocked over. The invention had easy access for players and protected property from damage. It was a win-win for everyone. There are other inventions that were useful for daily life, like the dustpan. In 1858, T.E. McNeil, an American inventor, designed the very first dustpan. However, a Black American by the name of Lloyd P. Ray was the first one to improve the basic version and add a metal collection plate accompanied by a short wooden handle. This invention received a patent in 1897. The goal was simple: increase the product's durability and functionality. Ray added the metal plate to make the dustpan more resilient to wear and tear.
Now, Jibjaba, all these inventions, by the way, take us back to actually give us all the answers. Actually, we have actually Black people in Africa and outside Africa. Actually, we have these actually inventions give us direct answers to what we held within ourselves. Our creativity, our wealth are like the ability to, of course, to maintain and build businesses, our knowledge of which these people are standing on. If it is not our knowledge, I guess they can't even stand. They can't stand on their own. So these inventions actually they answer all the questions that we could be having. We could be having in our hearts. We could be having in our brains.
It could hold the debris without bending or breaking easily. Plus, the handle offered better grip and maneuverability. But there was one invention that became one of the most critical additions in medicine. That was the laser phaco. Dr. Patricia Bath created laser phaco, a new method and device for eliminating cataracts. This innovation is capable of performing all steps of cataract surgery, such as breaking down the lens, making the incision, and removing the shattered pieces.
I was not seeking to be the first. I was only attempting to do my thing. It's only when history looks back that you realize you were the first.
Bath is the very first Black female doctor to obtain a medical patent. She's now coming up next. We have the carbon filament for light bulb. Louis Latimer was born to formerly enslaved parents back in 1848. As a young man, he was a skilled draftsman who showed remarkable intelligence. He later invented a carbon filament that lasted longer and was more durable than earlier filaments. Because of this invention, incandescent light bulbs became cheaper and easier to buy. They were also safer than gas lamps, making them a go-to choice for the average American. Latimer started working for Thomas Edison and became an expert witness and patent investigator for the Edison Electric Light Company. Here's another invention that was very useful back in the 19th century, and that is the tobacco.
By the way, today we could be having inventors and creators in Africa and creative people actually who, of course, bring out something new. I've seen people come out with, of course, different, of course, medicines. People coming out with different, of course, antiviruses to certain diseases in Africa. But when people like come out with certain inventions, we don't know where these people we don't know where these people disappear from. We can no longer see these people. I remember in Uganda during COVID time, towards the end of COVID time, there is a doctor, of course, at Barra University who made his own medicine for coronavirus stuff. But I've never heard this doctor again. The government wanted to credit this guy stuff, but I've never heard him anywhere. And other inventors and creators. Sometime back, I heard of a person actually. I heard of a guy who made the diseases that cure HIV here in Africa, but I've never heard this guy. I even don't have his photos. I can't even Google and find this guy anywhere. So they end up actually silencing these people, either with money or killing them.
Go Press. John Parker was a Black businessman and inventor who held a significant role as an Underground Railroad conductor before the Civil War. Between 1845 and 1865, he saved almost 1,000 slaves. He was born a slave in 1827 in Norfolk, Virginia, but he moved a lot and learned to read and write. By the 1880s, Parker became an inventor. In 1884, he received a patent for his improved version of the tobacco press. The year after that, he got a patent for the portable tobacco press. By optimizing the design, his products improved efficiency and allowed for more tobacco to be processed in a shorter amount of time. Well, there was another product that took the market by storm, and that was the wonderful hair grower. Ever heard of the first Black woman millionaire in the United States? Madam C.J. Walker made a fortune selling her very own hair grower formula.
My hair grew back, and so did my confidence. Let's talk about hair. They put us down, tell us we're ugly, make us feel ugly. Wonderful hair leads to wonderful opportunities. Mama, you sure on something. One thing I learned about dreams. They do come true for them. It's my duty to make money and use it for the benefit of my neighbors.
She was born in 1867 into slavery, became an orphan at 7 years old, a mother at 17, and a widow by 20. After suffering from a scalp disorder that caused substantial hair loss, she devised a treatment that revamped the Black hair care industry.
She was going after African-American women. And because they were urban, they were beginning to care more about their clothing and about their presentation. She knew that this market was untapped.
She began selling her custom pomade in 1905 with just $1.05 in her pocket, and it turned into a lucrative business. It was called the Walker system, which involved preparing the scalp with iron combs and lotions. Here's another invention that also became popular in the hair industry: the dual adjustable mirrors. Samuel Scroton was another Black inventor from the late 1800s. He changed many jobs before becoming a barber, but as soon as he started cutting hair, he realized something was missing.
Men are no more without vanity than women. As members of a civilized society, we are concerned with our appearance before others.
He invented the dual adjustable mirrors on a standing pole for barbershops. He received a patent in 1868. The purpose behind his creation was to provide barbers with a practical tool that allowed customers to view their haircuts from multiple angles with ease. The mirror was useful for both the barber and the customer. Scottron invented and patented many other products and spent 15 years selling them. Another one of his inventions is the cornice. The adjustable window cornice, patented in 1883, was an innovation that allowed for greater control and versatility in window treatments. Unlike traditional fixed cornices, Scottron's adjustable product offered a solution for more precise and customizable window treatments, allowing users to modify the cornice to suit their specific window dimensions and decorative preferences. This innovation became popular for its ability to accommodate various window sizes and styles. Another small but significant invention was the curtain rod. Scottron made significant improvements to curtain rods. His invention, patented in 1892, specifically focused on metallic rods designed to be fixed across the lower portions of windows. The importance of Samuel's invention lies in its practicality and efficiency. These curtain rods are unique as they are constructed using two telescoping tubes, allowing for adjustment to fit windows of different sizes. The significant aspect of Samuel's invention lies in the secure attachment mechanism for these rods to the window frame, ensuring they can be easily installed and removed, while also remaining firmly in place. But the curtain rod wouldn't have the same effects if it weren't for the curtain pull tip. Scottron patented the pull tip in 1886. It acted as a protective covering for the end of the curtain rod. It prevented potential damage to the wall or surrounding objects when moving or adjusting the curtains. These tips were often designed with decorative elements. By covering the sharp and rough ends of the curtain pole, these tips helped prevent the curtains from snagging or catching on the rod. In other words, this invention combined functionality and aesthetics. But there was more where that came from. In 1893, Scottron received another patent for the supporting bracket. This remarkable black inventor created an improved supporting bracket that could be adjusted vertically without using nails or screws, which often weaken and damage the support. Instead, this bracket used the weight of a shelf or any item placed on it to create enough friction to hold the bracket firmly in place without causing damage to the supporting bar. The invention was straightforward and easy to use. Other inventions proved to be critical in more peculiar industries, like the invention of whaling harpoon. Lewis Temple was a black inventor who invented the standard harpoon of the whaling industry in the mid-19th century. Temple was not a whaler. He was a reputable blacksmith. During this time, whaling was a huge industry around the globe. Whales were used for their oil, which was used to lubricate machines and light the city. But their meat was also popular for frying.
1700 to 1850, the fuel that lit the houses, governments, and businesses of America and much of Europe was whale oil. Crews of whalers would catch the mighty sea creatures, and then either beside the boat or back near shore, they would slice strips of blubber off of the back and the head of the whales in a process called flensing.
Many black people worked as seamen for the whaling industry, and when Temple talked with whalers, he realized he could make tools that could boost their business. Temple realized that the harpoons people were using back then couldn't hold a struggling whale in place, which is why many whales escaped. So, in 1848, he came up with the whaling harpoon that prevented the whales from slipping loose. Here is another revolutionary invention, the ship sails handle. James Forten, born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, from 1766 to 1842, served in the US Navy during the Revolutionary War. When the British captured him, they offered him freedom, but only under one condition: agree to live in England. Forten declined and said he would never betray his own people.
He made that decision because he really believed in the cause of the revolution. He said that since he had been captured as a revolutionary, he felt that he still should stay with a cause that he was willing to lay down his life for and fight for.
When the war ended, Forten pursued a different career. He became a sailmaker and invented a contraption to handle ship sails. He received the patent and became a rich man. This successful businessman used his finances to advocate for the abolition of slavery and fight for women's rights.
After his service in the Revolutionary War, he goes on and tries to bring more strength to the abolition movement and becomes involved in the American Anti-Slavery Society. He's involved in promoting the education of African Americans here in Philadelphia and promoting their freedom.
Next on our list is the hand mill for grinding corn. George Peake was another black man who fought in the Revolutionary War. He created an improved manual corn grinder. Compared to the older methods, Peake's invention was a lot more practical. It was simpler to work with and produced smoother corn. Even though he didn't receive a patent for his invention, a newspaper recognized Peake for his efforts. As you can see, there were many brilliant minds in the United States, but very few managed to revolutionize railroad safety, like Andrew Jackson Beard did. After all, he was the one who invented the Jenny coupler. In 1897, Beard obtained a patent for enhancing railroad car couplers. His invention was called the Jenny coupler. This device was designed to improve the knuckle coupler, which was patented in 1873 by Eli Janney. The knuckle coupler was dangerous when it came to connecting railroad cars. While it did its job, people had to manually place a pin between the two cars.
Early railroads relied on the link and pin couplers, such as these, with railroad workers manually connecting the pieces at considerable risk to their safety.
So, a lot of people lost a limb or ended up with severe injuries. When Beard worked as a railroad worker, he too suffered a car coupling accident, which cost him his leg. Beard got not one, but 3 patents for his innovations for automatic car couplers. For his Jenny coupler, Beard got $50,000 for the patent rights. That's the equivalent of about $1.5 billion today. This black inventor became a part of the National Inventors Hall of Fame. This black inventor also came up with the rotary engine. Beard invented a steam-driven rotary engine, which played a key role in revolutionizing production and manufacturing processes. These engines provided a more efficient power source compared to earlier technologies and allowed for the smooth operation of machinery, thus increasing productivity. Another worthy invention is the mechanical corn seed planter. In the 1800s, corn and cotton was in high demand, but planting was a manual and labor-intensive process. Farmers often used rudimentary methods to sow corn seeds. These seeds were often sown by hand. Farmers used a plow to create furrows in the soil. Then, people walked along the field and dropped the seeds into the soil. In 1834, Henry Blair proved to be a brilliant inventor by designing the mechanical corn seed planter. His patented invention looks like a wheelbarrow with a chamber attached to the bottom of the device to disperse the seeds. After dropping the seeds in the soil, rigs fixed to the wheelbarrow can be used to cover the seeds with soil. This invention was designed to be used for seeding, plowing, and soil coverage, all in one. Thanks to his marvelous invention, Blair helped boost crop planting efficiency and provided higher yields for farmers. Another invention from an intelligent black man was the Jessup wagon. George Washington Carver was a remarkable inventor and agricultural scientist who was born a slave in 1864 before slavery was outlawed. When he was older, he achieved significant success both in the lab and among local people. He educated impoverished farmers by showing them alternative ways to feed hogs using acorns instead of expensive feed, and how to improve farmlands by using swamp muck rather than costly fertilizers. Through studying soil chemistry, Carver realized that continuously growing cotton had taken away vital nutrients from the soil, causing poor harvests.
When Carver arrived in the South, there were roughly 5 million black farmers there. Only about 1/5 of them owned any land. Almost all of them shared a common problem: over-reliance on cotton as the region's main cash crop, together with the sharecropper system used to produce it, which depleted the soil and kept tenant farmers in a permanent state of impoverishment.
One of his most notable contributions is the Jessup agricultural wagon. This mobile classroom was a horse-drawn carriage. It was basically Carver's school on wheels. Now, onto a more hygienic invention, the sewer backflow preventer. Hugh M. Brown was an educator and civil rights activist. He invented the sewer backflow preventer and patented it in 1890. This is a device that prevents sewage from flowing back into a home without impeding the usual flow of sewage. This invention helped maintain the functionality of a sewer system, but it also increased public safety by keeping the unwanted water out and reducing the risk of potential health hazards. Another more practical invention was the paper rewinding device. Shelby Davidson was an African-American born in 1868. He worked for the United States Postal Service and the auditing department. He kept track of schedules and numbers, making sure that everything was done in a timely manner. Probably out of necessity, Davidson came up with a solution that would reduce the amount of time and paper clerical workers spent doing the paperwork. He created 2 products, the paper rewinding device in 1908 and the automatic feed device in 1911. Both options were used to drastically improve workflow, but more and more inventions came to the market. One of them was the automated shoe laster. In the early days, people made shoes by hand. Customers would first need to get a custom fit so that the shoemaker can make the right shape and size. A reputable hand laster could make 50 pairs in a 10-hour workday. After working for 5 years, Jan Ernst Matzeliger successfully acquired a patent in 1883 for his invention of a machine that automated the process of shoe lasting. Matzeliger's machine was capable of producing between 150 and 700 pairs of shoes every day. His invention reduced shoe prices by 50% across the country.
Matzeliger's principle is still in use today. The machine could hold the shoe, pull the leather down around the heel, guide and drive the nails into place to attach the top of the shoe to the sole. Matzeliger was somewhat of a genius when it came to machinery. At the age of 10, he was a machine shop apprentice in his native country, Dutch Guiana.
Next on our list is the protective mailbox. Philip Bell Downing was a black man who filed at least 5 patents with the U.S. Patent Office during the late 19th and early 20th century. On October 27, 1891, he got approved for his 2 patents for a street letterbox. Downing's box looked like the mailboxes we see everywhere now, a tall metal box with a strong swinging door to put letters. Before this, if people wanted to send mail, they had to personally go to the post office. But Downing's creation let them drop letters close to their home for a carrier to pick up easily. His clever door design kept rain and snow out to keep the mail safe. Another one of his inventions is the envelope moistener. On January 26, 1917, Downing got one more patent. His envelope moistener used a roller and a small water tank that could be used to moisten envelopes. It was a practical invention for high-volume shipments. Next on this list is the electret microphone. James West studied at Temple University before joining Bell Labs. He, along with Gerard M. Sessler, created the electret microphone, a small, cheap device used in 90% of modern microphones.
It revolutionized microphones in the sense that it a condenser microphone at the time in the 60s when we started this work, you couldn't buy a condenser microphone for less than $2,000. By eliminating the need for the battery, this meant that you could make something very simple.
West is a prolific writer with over 250 patents. He became a professor at Johns Hopkins University in 1960 at Bell Labs. West and Sessler collaborated to develop a low-cost, highly sensitive microphone.
Bell Labs is where West called. Despite his successful career, working in physics and engineering was not what his parents envisioned for their young son.
They completed the product in 1962, which is a technology that can be used in a wide range of products. By 1968, it was mass-produced. Today, the invention is an industry standard and can be found in tape recorders, telephones, hearing aids, baby monitors, and camcorders. Well, not all inventions are meant to revamp an entire industry. Some can just be used for fun and still bring a ton of cash. That's exactly what happened with the Super Soaker.
Lonnie Johnson invented the Super Soaker back in 1982. But that is not his only invention.
Well, I have over 100 patents.
He also worked on NASA's Galileo mission to Jupiter and alongside the U.S. military.
Lonnie G. Johnson is a former Air Force and NASA engineer who invented the best-selling water toy of all time back in the 1980s. This toy is called the Super Soaker. This invention uses hand-pumped air to shoot water further, stronger, and more accurately than regular water pistols.
Working on a new type of heat pump that would use water as a working fluid instead of Freon. And I was experimenting with some nozzles that I machined. And I shot a stream of water across the bathroom, and I thought, geez, maybe I should put this hard science stuff aside and work on something fun like a water gun. It still works.
This impressive piece of technology makes a high-performance toy that children can't get enough of. Johnson is also the inventor of the Nerf gun. This toy gun fires foam darts, discs, arrows, or foam balls. It is without a doubt one of the most popular toys being used today. Johnson patented several Nerf products in the 90s.
At one point, just about all the toy guns, the water guns, Super Soaker, of course, and a good percentage of the Nerf dart guns were all based on my patents. I actually set out to grab the dart gun market as well as the water gun market,
making him one of the most popular modern-day inventors. Here's another invention you probably didn't know was invented by a black person, the Gas heating furnace. Alice H. Parker, a black inventor in the early 1900s, is famous for patenting a natural gas-based central heating system. Her invention was crucial in shaping the heating systems we use in our homes today. We don't have much information about Parker's life or background, probably because women, especially black women back then, weren't adequately documented. Parker got the idea for her heating system when she felt cold during the winters in New Jersey. At that time, fireplaces couldn't heat entire homes well. Most homeowners relied on wood or coal for warmth. Parker's idea was special because it used natural gas. It helped people save time. Plus, it was much safer to use a heating system than to keep the fire burning all night. Parker received her patent on December 23, 1919. Although her invention wasn't the first for a gas furnace design, it stood out because it had multiple burners that could be controlled individually. Her system paved the way for modern thermostats and heating zone systems. But there's more where that came from. The first person to patent the golf tee was Dr. George Franklin Grant, an avid golfer, born in Oswego, New York, in 1847. Grant started working for a local dentist as a young boy, doing errands and later helping in the lab. He then became a dental assistant and secured a place at the newly established Harvard Dental School. In 1870, he became the second Black American to graduate from dental school.
The first university-based dental program in the nation. 2 years later, he graduated with honors, becoming the second African American to earn a degree in dentistry, the first being his fellow classmate, Robert Tanner Freeman.
In his free time, he loved to play golf. He and his golf partners were among the first Black golfers after the Civil War. He played with well-known figures in Boston like civil rights activist Archibald Grimke, lawyer Bustler Wilson, and restaurateur Howard Lee. Dr. Grant didn't like the messy process of teeing up golf balls with moist sand, so he invented the world's first golf tee. He patented it on December 12, 1899. However, Grant was more of an inventor than a businessman, which is why he never marketed his invention. Instead, he gave them away to friends and playing partners. Nearly a century after his patent, in 1991, the United States Golf Association finally recognized Grant for his significant contribution to the game of golf. Here's another invention that you probably had no idea was invented by a Black man, and that is the ice cream scooper. Alfred L. Crowell was an inventor and a very successful businessman. He is famous for inventing the ice cream scoop in 1897.
He later became a general manager for the African American Financial Accumulating Merchandise and Business Association.
He was born on September 4, 1866, in Cambridge, Lunenburg County, Virginia, just after the Civil War ended. While working at a hotel, cones with spoons and ladles, they had to use both their hands and separate tools to serve their customers. To solve this problem, Crowell created a mechanical tool, which was first called the ice cream mold and disher. He patented it on February 2, 1897. This invention was designed to prevent ice cream from sticking.
The patent, not quite like this, but similar. The patented ice cream mold and disher was an ice cream scoop with a built-in scraper like this to allow for one-handed operations like that.
It was easy to use with just one hand and proved to be durable, efficient, and affordable. Next on our list is the rotary blade lawnmower. John Albert Burr obtained a patent on May 9, 1899 for an upgraded rotary blade lawnmower. He created a mower with grip wheels and a spinning blade that resisted getting clogged by grass clippings. It ensured a more efficient cutting process. He also enhanced the mower's design, allowing it to cut closer to buildings and walls. Burr's invention improved the precision and maneuverability of lawnmowers. His improvements set a standard for future lawnmower designs, influencing the development of more effective and user-friendly lawn care equipment. Now to a more peculiar invention, the refrigerating apparatus. Dr. Thomas Elkins, a well-respected pharmacist in Albany, was not only known for his community involvement, but also for his passion for inventing. He was an abolitionist and served as the secretary of the Vigilance Committee. Elkins developed a new refrigeration device. Back then, people used large containers with ice blocks to keep food cold, but the ice melted quickly and the food often spoiled. In 1878, Elkins received a patent for a refrigerating apparatus that chilled items using water evaporation. Interestingly, this device could also be used to store corpses. Here's how it worked. The apparatus came with an insulated cabinet where ice was inserted to lower the inside temperature. Therefore, it was considered a refrigerator, but without mechanical coolers. He literally transformed the old-fashioned method of food storage. Next on our list is the mop. Thomas Stewart, from Kalamazoo, Michigan, got a patent for a new kind of mop on June 11th, 1893. This mop had a special clamping system that could squeeze out water with the help of a lever. Before his invention, people had to manually wring and squeeze the water out. Stewart's mop had a clamp and springs, which were designed to let users push a lever to squeeze out water. He also made the mop head detachable for easy replacement or cleaning.
First, it's a mop head that you could actually remove. You could take it and wash it and scrub it, and when it got too dirty to reuse again, you just toss it and buy another one. But then he designed a lever that would attach to the mop head. When you pulled it out, you could twist it and it would wring all the dirty water out of the mop without you actually having to touch it.
We've been lied to about who we truly are and our history all of our lives, which is how they keep us stuck, broke, and confused. But it's time to change the narrative and understand our true power. It all starts in your mind. That's exactly why we made our new Hidden History Workbook. It's a free workbook designed for those that want to wake up and go deeper than the whitewashed version of our history. This will only be available for a limited time. Click the link in our description to grab yours now for free. This improved mop design is still used today. Another one of his inventions is the station and street indicator. Before Stewart's invention, warning signs were the only method used to signal approaching trains or streetcars. But these signs were not effective in providing real-time warnings. Stewart's indicator, activated by a lever on the tracks, improved safety by giving an immediate signal when the train or streetcar was nearby. He patented his invention in 1883. Stewart's indicator was a technological advancement in signaling systems. It contributed to smoother traffic flow, helped prevent accidents, and allowed for better coordination between pedestrian and vehicle traffic. Next on this list is the fountain pen. In 1890, William Purvis from Philadelphia invented and patented upgrades for the fountain pen. He wanted to create a pen that was cheaper, more durable, and easier to carry in a pocket. Purvis introduced an elastic tube between the pen nib and the ink container. This tube used suction to pull extra ink back into the reservoir, reducing spills and making the ink last longer. While fountain pens were patented as far back as 1809, Purvis significantly improved their durability and convenience with this invention. Another interesting invention is the chemical for hair straightening. Garrett Augustus Morgan Sr., the same man who invented the three-way traffic light and the gas mask, also invented a chemical hair processing and straightening solution. He became a very successful businessman thanks to his products and opened up a business called G.A. Morgan Hair Refining Company. The company sold many of his patented hair care products, such as the hair straightening cream, hair straightening comb, and hair coloring. Here's another product that was designed by a Black inventor. That's the reversible baby stroller. Even though people have always used different methods to carry their babies, the very first baby carriage was invented in 1733 by William Kent. The product was designed for the Duke of Devonshire. Well, obviously, the carriage had to be fancy and covered in gold and silver. Because it came at such a high cost, only wealthy people could afford this kind of baby carriage. For the lower class, the baby carriage was made out of wood or wicker. But in 1889, a Black inventor by the name of William H. Richardson patented a new kind of baby carriage. His idea allowed the bassinet to face the person pushing the carriage by using a special joint. He also made changes so each wheel could turn separately, letting the stroller move in any direction easily. This new design made strollers more affordable, and they became popular among middle-class families. Next on our list is the biscuit cutter. Alexander P. Ashbourne, an early inventor, was born into slavery in Philadelphia around 1820. When he was freed, he worked at affluent weddings and buffets in the city. While working at one such event, he noticed that the biscuits lacked any form or shape. This inspired him to create a solution that would make the perfect biscuits, the biscuit cutter. Ashbourne applied for a patent on May 11, 1875, and received a patent on November 20, 1876. His patented cutter featured a board for easy loading and unloading of biscuits. It also included metal plates with different shapes. By pressing the plate onto the dough, the cook could create specialized shapes effortlessly. Ashbourne kept inventing and received another patent for processing coconut oil. Ashbourne's oil refining method involved filtering, bleaching, heating at high temperatures, and ultimately hydrogenation to remove unsaturated fatty acids from the oil. He started developing this process in 1875 and obtained a patent on July 27, 1880. Ashbourne's pioneering efforts led to the widespread use of coconut oil in food items, hair, and scented products. Another invention that deserves a spot on this list is the coin changer. James A. Bower, invented the coin changer mechanism in the 1970s. This is a type of vending machine that changes dollar bills into coins. The coin changer was especially useful in places like laundromats, arcades, or public transportation, where people needed coins for various services. Bauer's invention represented an innovation in vending technology, showcasing the potential to create machines that facilitated transactions and improved customer experiences. Next on this list is the stainless steel scoring pads. Alfred Benjamin received a patent in the 1960s for an invention that improved the scouring pads. The invention presents a dual-layer scrubbing pad woven from stainless steel wool. One side has a specific coarseness, while the other has a different coarseness. A plastic disc is usually placed between the layers at the pad's center. The pad has steel wool arms extending from it with attached rings for a metal wool pad with varied coarseness on each side and with mechanisms to attach it to the user's hand. Another invention is the bed rack. Henrietta Bradbury, a housewife from Chicago, didn't just stay at home. She was also an inventor. On May 25th, 1943, she secured a patent for her innovative bed rack. This attachment could be added, allowing worn clothes to hang and be refreshed by flowing air. Her 1941 patent explained that it was meant for exposing bedclothes to fresh air after use. Bradbury cleverly designed the rack to fold by adding a pedal that could be used for raising or lowering the device. 2 years later, the Kentucky native came up with another interesting invention, the torpedo discharger. She devised a new method for releasing torpedoes from submarines and underground forts. While her bed rack took 2 years to receive patent approval, the torpedo discharger was quickly approved because of the war efforts going on at the time. Her torpedo firing system allowed for multiple launches while keeping water away from the mechanism responsible for releasing the missiles. Bradbury explained that because she stayed at home, she had plenty of time to refine her inventions, so the ideas just came to her naturally. Another invention that has made a notable impact is the disposable syringe. Phil Brooks was a black inventor from Kansas. He received the very first patent for the disposable syringe. A syringe is a basic pump with a tight-fitting plunger in a tube. By moving the plunger inside the cylindrical tube, known as a barrel, the syringe can draw in or push out liquids or gases through an opening at the tube's end. The syringe's open end is equipped with a hypodermic needle, nozzle, or tubing to control the flow in and out of the barrel. These tools are commonly used for injections, especially for delivering drugs through veins, applying substances like glue or lubricants, and measuring liquids. Discharger. She devised a new method for releasing torpedoes from submarines and underground forts. While her bed rack took 2 years to receive patent approval, the torpedo discharger was quickly approved because of the war efforts going on at the time. Her torpedo firing system allowed for multiple launches while keeping water away from the mechanism responsible for releasing the missiles. Bradbury explained that because she stayed at home, she had plenty of time to refine her inventions, so the ideas just came to her naturally. Another invention that has made a notable impact is the disposable syringe. Phil Brooks was a black inventor from Kansas. He received the very first patent for the disposable syringe. A syringe is a basic pump with a tight-fitting plunger in a tube. By moving the plunger inside the cylindrical tube, known as a barrel, the syringe can draw in or push out liquids or gases through an opening at the tube's end. The syringe's open end is equipped with a hypodermic needle, nozzle, or tubing to control the flow in and out of the barrel. These tools are commonly used for injections, especially for delivering drugs through veins, applying substances like glue or lubricants, and measuring liquids. Next on our list is the street sweeper truck. In the past, people had to sweep the streets by hand, day in and day out. They had no other choice but to use a broom, shovel, and dustpan. The streets were cleaned by walking workers who manually cleaned the streets or used horse-drawn machines to get the job done. But a black man from Newark, New Jersey, decided to bring a drastic change. Charles B. Brooks invented and patented the very first self-propelled street sweeper truck in 1896. His invention was equipped with brushes that could push the trash to the curb and clean the streets with ease. When winter came, the brushes could be changed with a flat scraper to clean the ice and snow. It was truly an impressive machine. Another invention that deserves a spot on this list is the horseshoe improvement. In 1892, Oscar E. Brown patented an enhancement for horseshoes. His patent introduced a design with both an upper and lower shoe. This innovation aimed to reduce the horse's discomfort when the lower shoe had to be replaced. By incorporating an upper shoe along with the lower one, the invention increased the overall durability and longevity of the horseshoe. This meant that the shoe replacement process would be less frequent, reducing the stress on the horse's hooves. Black people also invented plenty of devices that helped the transportation industry. One such invention was the train alarm. Richard A. Butler invented and patented a new and improved train alarm in 1897. His goal was to provide a device that could benefit trainmen when the train approached an overhead bridge. The train alarm acted as an early detection device, providing enough time for train operators to take necessary precautions, slow down, or stop the train. This early warning system helped prevent accidents and collisions, potentially saving a lot of lives. Another impressive invention is the ultraviolet camera spectrograph. George Carruthers was a Black inventor, space scientist, and physicist.
Sweet 16 has arrived. It's absolutely unreal.
I first became interested in space when I was in elementary school, and I happened to get Buck Rogers comic book, which I found very interesting. That was long before the space was a reality.
He was known around the world for his work. His focus revolved around observing the Earth's upper atmosphere and celestial events using ultraviolet technology. Dr. Carruthers' initial significant contribution to science was when he created the far ultraviolet camera spectrograph. He obtained a patent for his invention on November 11, 1969. The invention is known as the image converter for detecting electromagnetic radiation, especially in short wavelengths. Now, to a more practical invention, the process of producing paints and stains. George Washington Carver, the same man who invented the Jessup wagon, also invented the process of producing paints and stains from clays. By selecting the right color, this method can create various filler, pigment, and stain colors for treating wood or other substances. Carver is also known for his peanut products. He has invented more than 300 products from peanuts, such as laundry soap, sweeping compound, peanut flour, cream candy, peanut flakes, and more. His products made a significant boost to the economy of the rural South.
Carver began urging farmers to rotate crops and to use organic fertilizers. He preached the value of planting soil-restoring crops such as peanuts, sweet potatoes, black-eyed peas, and soybeans.
Next is the automatic fishing reel. In 1899, George Cook, a Black inventor from Kentucky, obtained a patent for an automatic fishing device. This device had a trip lever triggered by tension on the fishing line. When activated, it released a spring-loaded carriage that moved within the device's frame. Inside the carriage was a spring-driven reel that wound up the fishing line. Another invention is the improved wash machine for photographs and negatives. When developing photos and negatives, it's crucial to soak them in chemical baths. Platonia Joaquin Dorticus created an improved machine in 1893 that prevents staining, bleaching, and overwashing caused by leftover chemicals. He also came up with the improved embossing photo machine. This invention offers a 3D impression to photographs, which literally revamped the printing industry. But there are other inventions from Black inventors that helped take the printing industry to new heights, such as the improved printing press. William A. Lavalette made some noteworthy improvements to the printing press in 1878. His invention had a movable bed with arms, toggles, and a lever for retracting the bed when necessary. Next is the envelope seal. Wax-sealed messaging has been around for centuries, but on September 21st, 1891, F.W. Leslie patented a new, modern envelope seal. His invention had two metallic discs that locked together and kept the envelope securely closed. Another useful invention is the pressure cooker. Morris W. Lee Jr. invented the pressure cooker in 1958. He received a patent in 1963. The device used wood to add flavor to the meat. Another popular household item invented by a Black inventor was the window cleaner. Anthony L. Lewis from Illinois patented the window cleaner in 1892. His device was a useful improvement to window cleaners. His invention came with a reservoir and a scraper, which could be used to wash and scrape a number of windows. Then there is the portable pencil sharpener. In 1828, a French inventor came up with the very first pencil sharpener. But his invention was so bulky and impractical that it never caught on. In 1897, John Lee Love, a Black inventor, patented the Love sharpener, which was a more efficient and portable pencil sharpener compared to its earlier versions. Next is the first fire extinguisher sprinkler system. Thomas J. Marshall improved the design of the fire extinguisher. He issued a patent on March 26, 1872, for inventing a system where water moves through pipes inside buildings, reaching individual sprinkler heads. The system can be turned off or on via a valve. Another invention is the improved hairbrush. Lyda Newman patented her hairbrush in 1898 when she was 13 years old. She created a product specifically designed for African American hair. Instead of natural animal hair, the hairbrush used synthetic bristles. We bring you to a different invention, the blimp. In 1900, John F. Pickering, a black inventor, received a patent for a blimp, also known as an airship. His invention was far more improved than its original design. It was the first airship powered by an electric motor with directional controls. Onto another invention, and that's the improved hand stamp. William Purvis, the same man who improved the fountain pen, received a patent in 1883 for improving the hand stamp. His invention was capable of replenishing its own ink. Then there was the insect destroyer gun. It was invented by Albert C. Richardson at the end of the 1800s. Although the invention wasn't that successful, it paved the way for pesticides to be studied, for keeping insects away from crop fields. But the food industry wouldn't be what it is today without the sugar refining process. Norbert Rillieux, the son of a black slave woman and a rich French engineer, born in 1806, discovered a method to revamp the sugar refining process.
Norbert Rillieux was born on March 17, 1806. As a Creole, he had access to education and opportunities that were unavailable to free blacks or slaves. He attended private Catholic schools in Louisiana, and then in the early 1820s, he traveled to Paris to attend a famous engineering school. While in France, Norbert developed an invention that would revolutionize the sugar refining industry. Between 1834 and 1843, he created and patented his invention.
He put the condensing coils in a vacuum-sealed container, reducing the liquid's boiling point. This allowed the juice to evaporate in another chamber under a stronger vacuum. Rillieux's method significantly cut production costs and created superior quality sugar. A more recent invention is the gamma electric cell. Henry Sampson was the co-inventor of the gamma electric cell, an electrical apparatus that transforms gamma radiation into energy.
The gamma electric cell is a solid state device. I mean, it's a solid device for converting energy from gamma radiation directly to electricity. This, the gamma electric cell is currently being used to measure the strength of radiation that emanates from underground nuclear testing at Los Alamos.
Then there is the urinalysis machine. A black inventor by the name of Dewey Sanderson patented the urinalysis machine in 1970. His invention was meant to perform different urinalysis steps automatically, all of which were previously done manually. Sanderson also invented the medical compress. It was designed to stop the bleeding from a wound or vein after removing a needle used for drawing blood for lab tests or administering medicine or plasma into the circulatory system. Another invention was the roller mechanism for the player piano. Joseph Hunter Dickinson is a black inventor and craftsman who provided many improvements to musical instruments. He was well known for improving the player pianos, specifically the softness or loudness of the key strikes. He wasn't the first person to invent the player piano, but he was the first to patent an improvement that enabled the piano to begin playing from any point on the music roll. His roller mechanism made it possible for the piano to play the music forwards or backwards. He was also known as the primary contributing inventor of the duo art reproducing piano. The piano allowed for highly accurate reproduction of performances by famous pianists. It was one of the leading reproducing piano technologies of the early 20th century. Another invention that's credited to a black inventor is the doorstop. The history of formally produced doorstops can be traced back to 18th century Europe. They were mass-produced in the early 19th century across the European continent. But by the middle of that century, most of the manufacturing had shifted to the United States. Even though doorstops were made earlier, the first one to patent the invention in 1878 was Osborne Dorsey, a black inventor from the United States. He also invented the doorknob. That same year, Dorsey applied for a patent designed to provide improvements on the door latching device. This helped bring the first modern doorknob to the market. A lot of different doorknobs and handle designs have come out since then. Another interesting invention is the modified version of a traditional guitar. Robert Fleming Jr. was a 19th century American guitar maker and music teacher who designed a type of guitar he called the euphonica. He didn't invent the guitar as we know it, but he did create an invention that produced a louder and more resonant sound than a standard guitar. He patented his invention in 1886. Then there was the thermo hair curler. Solomon Harper, born in Arkansas, 1893, was a black inventor who created the very first electrically heated hair curler. He wanted to create the curler because he wanted to show the world that even though he was black, he could still produce a wonderful thing that even white people could use. Solomon got a patent for his first design in 1930. Later, in 1953, he applied for another patent with an improved device. Today, the hair curling, Solomon faced a lot of difficulties getting financial rewards and acknowledgement for his invention. Next on our list is improved lantern. Michael C. Harvey was a black inventor who strived to improve the lantern. He patented a new device for a lantern in 1884. His innovation enhanced the mechanisms that lifted wicks and oil lanterns. The wick absorbed oil beneath it, and when the lantern was lit, the soaked wick produced light. While Harvey may not be the original lantern inventor, he deserves recognition for enhancing it. Other inventions also deserve a spot on our list, one of which is the gas burner. Benjamin F. Jackson was a black inventor who obtained a patent in 1911 for creating the gas burner for candy kettles. The gas burner is a heating tool powered by natural gas. Jackson's innovation guaranteed better fuel combustion by enhancing the even spread of pressurized air. He also managed to make enhancements to pressurized gas burners, similar to those used in propane grills. He invented the improved steam boiler and a matrix drying apparatus. He is among many black inventors who've made some of the biggest contributions to science. Another black inventor made a significant impact in the cycling industry with the invention of the bicycle frame. Although Isaac Johnson wasn't the first person to invent the bicycle frame, he was the first black American to create and patent a bicycle frame that people could fold and take apart when they needed. It was the perfect product for easy storage. He patented his invention in 1899. Coming up at number 90 is the eye protector. Howell Johnson from Alabama was fully aware of how exposure to intense heat and glare can damage the eyes. So, he wanted to invent a product that would fix this problem. He patented the eye protector in 1880. Johnson designed these protectors for various workers, including furnacemen, puddlers, firemen, and many more. These eye protectors were the first of its kind. Next is the egg beater. Willis Johnson patented the rotary mixing machine that could be used for different recipes. It was a very efficient device, as it provided faster rotations that saved a lot of time and effort. Manufacturers have since improved on this design with a variety of styles and forms. Another invention was the two-cycle gas engine. Frederick M. Jones patented the two-cycle gas engines in 1945. The goal was to create an engine where multiple cylinders share a common crankshaft chamber. It involves double pistons and cylinders, where one part operates as a charging chamber. In typical two-cycle engines, each piston and associated components work separately, but in this design, two pistons operate in tandem, one going up as the other goes down. This innovation improves efficiency and achieves a well-balanced operation.
Since his death in 1961, Frederick Jones has been recognized as one of America's great inventors and was the first African American to receive the National Medal of Technology. Fred Jones holds more than 50 patents.
Coming up next is the bottle caps. Amos E. Long and Albert A. Jones are black inventors who contributed to inventing the bottle caps. In September 13th, 1898, they created various types of caps that could be used to seal bottle openings and keep the drinks fresh for an extended period of time. Another invention is the ticket punch. Charles Brooks came up with a hand tool that could mark admission tickets and other paper or cards. He patented his invention in 1893. This is an early example of a paper punch. Then there was the stair-climbing wheelchair. Rufus Jack Weaver was born in 1927 in Louisville, Kentucky. He was a black inventor and Navy veteran. In 1968, he patented a wheelchair that would help people with disabilities use the stairs. Next is the wagon-mounted fire escape ladder. Joseph Richard Winters was a black inventor and an abolitionist who patented his invention in 1878. Since buildings were becoming taller and taller, fire became a major hazard. Fire crews had to carry ladders, which were usually normal-sized. It also took too long for them to set up the ladders. Joseph's invention gave firemen easy access to tall buildings. Then there was the electric roller coaster. In 1892, Granville T. Woods came up with the Figure 8, the world's first electric roller coaster. Another worthy invention was the programmable remote controllers. Dr. Joseph N. Jackson is the brain behind the programmable TiVo, DVR, VCR, and television remote controllers. Then there was the pacemaker. Otis Boykin invented resistors that could be used as a control unit for the implantable pacemakers. And lastly, the first useful helicopter. Paul E. Williams was a Black inventor who patented the Lockheed Model 186 XH-51. This was an experimental helicopter, and just 3 units were built. This documentary took us a lot of time and effort to put together. All we asked.
So um, those actually those are inventions that were made by, of course, by Black people, which of course very many people don't acknowledge, and of course very many people, they don't know about all these inventions. When we see actually very many things being imported here, actually being imported here in Africa, when they have this is made in the US, this is made in China, this is made in UK, this is made in Russia, made in what? Like very many people think like really these things, of course, they are invented by Americans or by the white stuff, but they forget the point to understand. Of course, actually, they don't even forget because they don't know. They don't know that all these things were of course, were pioneered by the Black people. Maria, are you there?
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
How are you?
No worry. Do for the.
So, so a lot of inventions were, of course, are made by whenever we see a lot of things here, we think like these things, of course, are made by these so-called bazungus. But the pioneers of the entire things actually that we see here, even the planes that we see here, even war, like there is something I learned from that, and there is something little. However, the documentary that we have been watching, it had a lot of mistakes. To me, it had a lot of it had a lot of lies within itself. But like we can't skip this. We can't skip the fact that all whatever that has been that we have seen, it was made by Africans, by Blacks. So that takes me back to the days of it takes me back to the days of slave trade. We once said here that the people that were taken out of Africa, the people that were taken into slavery, these were people that knew something in their heads, that knew something to do in their heads, that had actually slave trade. It wasn't for everybody. Like the people that they took, it wasn't for every. They took creators, they took invaders from here. So it
Okay. I don't know why INNOSSETU has frozen. I guess we have lost him. I'll have to start from like where he had stopped. Um Well, like he was saying, slavery. Okay, I will use the same phrase. He's saying that slavery wasn't for everybody. They were not taking just everyone. They were coming across. They were taking people for a purpose. That's why they were choosing young, energetic, and creators, innovators, people who had skills above everything.
people who had skills above everything. Because they needed people to develop, they needed people to create a lot of things that we are seeing in Africa that they wanted to be created in Europe, basically because this was like among the major main scope of slavery. Then later, most people were taken to the US and other places. But why, like of course Africans have contributed to the progress of the entire world, but this is something that people will never actually understand. We had people last time we had someone around here who was actually trying to uh like, he wasn't directly saying, but I guess if I quote few of the things like you cannot use your sticks over the guns and all stuff, you cannot manage, Africans cannot create, black people apparently cannot create shit and stuff like that, whatever. But black people have created a lot of things, they have innovated a lot of things. Unfortunately, most of us do not really know that we have that we have the knowledge to create and the skills. Most black people look down on themselves, thinking that everything they use actually is not for them or is something that was created by other people. Now we have got, we know that from the traffic lights, gas masks, home security system, laser photo probes, 3D technologies, hump brakes, cornstalk brooms, cotton cleaning machines, light bulb filaments, automatic gear shift, clothes dryers, automatic elevator doors, folding chairs, gas heating furnaces. Now, golf tea, modern toilet, thermostat, super soaker, touch tone telephones. These are all things that were actually innovated by black people, and these are the things that we use in a day-to-day life. Somebody will say black people don't know how to use toilet, we don't know how to use modern toilet. How? Yet it's a black person who created modern toilet, it's a black person who innovated this whole modern toilet system. And somebody, there is a way people usually categorize black people, but if you come to see most of the things, someone will say probably we cannot use cloth dryers and all that. There is a lot that people tend to there is a lot of different ways that people tend to undermine black people, but I think it's because they are ignorant about the abilities that black people are having, or the abilities they are holding. Back in history, like Innocent was saying, we have seen innovation straight up in Africa. Africa is a place where civilization began. This is the land where civilization began. This is the land where we had education system. This is the land where we had people writing. All right. This is a place where we had cesareans, a C-section, the first C-section operation, the first C-section birth. This is a place where Muzungu came and saw, okay, so someone can cut open a woman and, of course, safely deliver or help that woman to, of course, deliver a safe baby. All right. This is a place where even people got to know, what does someone need to stitch somebody? You're having a wonder, how can someone help? Because if you look at the first things before now, that people are using different kind of technologies, but if you look at most of the chemicals they use to sterilize and other things, these were chemicals that were close to the African local way of sterilizing. All right. So alcohol and all the things. Now, these are the things that Africans used to use. Now, when we had, of course, slavery, I know we got a lot of black people outside Africa, okay, who believe they're not Africans. They found themselves wherever they are. They are the gods of where they are. They're the Asian people or the indigenous people of the particular areas where they are. They will say, our grandparents were here before even, a lot of stories be running around, okay, which is okay, fine. It is fine for someone to feel at home wherever you are. And I don't know, because probably maybe you have another story to tell. Maybe you have your own story, which I don't know. And so it's fine. It is fine. But it is still, the truth will still remain that we had slavery take place in Africa. We had people moved from Africa to Europe and to the US and other places in the world, and still exists. Never saw that. We never saw those people being brought back here. But of course, we have got a huge number of a lot of I'm going to say the remaining percentages of the British and of course the Americans. So we have seen a lot. When it comes to Africa, you're going to see we have got different infrastructure designs or systems, or how people design the houses and other things. We have got some buildings that someone will look at and say, this is an Italian format of building. We look at someone say, this is a British type of building. The Italian type usually is seen within the Catholic churches. This is seen within in Africa. It is visible in some other collected houses, like where you find some other professionals residing, like in some hospitals, the hospital quarters for the workers. And then you will see that British is seen in schools, where you can identify the British system is seen in schools, basically a lot in schools, and in other places. Okay, so we have also got the one that is identified as an Indian style. But people name these things they name these things because these are the people they saw come. You see, when we had people coming down to Africa to construct, we did not see any Black person being brought here to carry out all the things. Yet most of the knowledge that was brought back was knowledge that was taken by from the Black people that existed outside Africa at that time. Because like I said, when they were carrying out slavery, they were taking people who were professional in a certain particular field. If you were professional, if you knew a lot about medicine, you wouldn't survive slavery, and your family wouldn't survive that. Any person who knew the knowledge you had wouldn't survive being taken to slavery. If you knew the construction system, you can we still have some houses that are permanent, but they are built in the Asian system. If you look at them, you can look and identify, because the architecture of a house may look a little bit similar, but when it has a lot in common, like the African ancient ways of construction, having of course gates around, and you having I don't know how I'm gonna term that. Oh, how should I term that now? I don't want to use the word defense. I don't want to use the word defense because it may be different from what I'm trying to mean. But I'm going to try to explain that the system where like someone will have their houses or his or her house built, and then they try to build a wall around it. Nowadays they put a wall around it with a gate, and where probably now modernity has introduced a system where maybe the gate will be an electric gate or an non-electric gate with some other sensor lights, cameras, whatever. That's added on security system. Now in Africa we had that from ancient days. Houses were built that way, and they had shrubs around them, and that was for security, privacy, and all that. Now that entire system, we had that whole system, though we did not use bricks and cement and whatever the raw materials that people are using now. We used quick materials and traditional materials at that time. If I told you are someone who follows the ancient Africa's construction, of course, stories, you'll get to know that Africa's system, most of us were in Swahili, we call that sagati. All right, so you of course have something around your house that provides that privacy and separates you from other habitants or other things around you. So, but like I said, when we had people brought down here in Africa, and people started naming that the other one is an Italian construction way, the other one is Indian style, the other one is whatever. There is nothing like Italian, Indian, or whatever style, because all these styles, people had these styles down here. We had styles that were around. You construct a house that has a round top. You construct a house that had a flat, and another house that had like a panel kind of way. And the finishing of the house would have a panel like I think it's a canopy, let me say, a canopy kind of way. So and another house down would be round, others would be rectangular, triangular, whatever. But Africans are hard. The only thing is that I'm not gonna say we use like the raw materials that are being used now for construction. We use different raw materials at that time. I think the only thing is the raw material, but the architecture of the house still remains the same. And so it is funny for someone to ask whether Africans sleep on the trees, yet the architecture or the designs of the houses, most of these designs existed in Africa before they existed among the cave people and elsewhere. So it is a funny thing for someone to ask whether people who innovated these structures sleep in houses or not. All right, so there have been a lot of things, and I think it is very important for Africans to understand and know the power they hold, the intelligence they have, the strong brain, and of course, capabilities they have. And until we understand this, I think we shall keep praising other people for our credits, and also allowing other people to credit our work, and looking down on ourselves. Someone sometime back was saying, no, Africans cannot make weapons. We have got a lot of people, at least I've seen, the ones I've seen, basically, I've seen Nigerians really creating weapons. All right, creating weapons. And Africans can create anything. Not only Africans, but Black people can create anything. The only problem that we have, we do not have the finances, and we do not have people who believe. Like I say, we don't believe not only in others of the same race as we are, but ourselves as well. All right. I'm gonna give you an example. I don't know if I don't know if I can still see this on my I posted this some like 3 years ago, 3 years ago. There are some Ghanaian youths, I think there were 3 young Ghanaian men who had innovated a weapon, a military weapon, and they were asking the Ghanaian government to help them, of course, finance this, and they created this. And Ghana, they took everything for granted. They ignored these young boys. And when they of course went to China to study, and they were given of course they went to China to study, and in a technology school and all that. It was actually one of the guys, so he communicated to their friends with whom they had created this weapon. And I can tell you, when they did that, China sponsored them, and it agreed to actually finance its creation, but only they have to do this in China, and they have to join the of course the system in China. And at that time, there were a lot of debates all over, like how, and now Ghana came out and it was trying to call the boys, come back, we are going to sponsor. This is because they looked at this guy's work and they were like, how can you do that? It is until when other people looked at these young boys' work and appreciated it, and they wanted to finance it, that now Ghana said, okay, I think we are losing something big. So this is the problem we have. We have seen countries make cars. We have seen African countries make motorbikes. We've seen a lot of people doing a lot of things. The problem is the leaders don't want to sponsor this creation of other people. All right, and the creation of the Africans, they rather, because first of all, it kills the market of their it kills the market of you know of their bosses, because like we know that they are puppets. All right, so there is a lot of greatness within the Black people all over the world, though there is little knowledge about the greatness of the Black people. We know that we have had African Americans innovating agricultural implements, devices for easing domestic chores, and devices related to the railroad industry. Okay, most of these were of course African American. Now, if we had African American innovating a lot of devices that, of course, they helped in the railroad industry, or constructing the railroad. And then, like I said, when it came to constructing railroads down here in Africa, we saw Bazungus, we saw Indians were abroad, we saw Pakistanis who were abroad. People were abroad to do something, to do things, to use devices that were actually important for us not to see any Black person participate in greater things. Because if you look at somebody who looks just like you doing shit, and then you'll be like, I think I can also do that. Of course, the more you look at people who don't look and by the way, it is just of recent that we are seeing some African Americans coming down to Africa. It is just of recent that we are seeing African Americans coming down to Africa. But before now, we all thought all the people over there are in their head. They can't do no shit. They're always in prisons. They don't even live in real homes. Now, this is what the mainstream shows. All right, this is what the mainstream shows. Just like people, everyone has a right to say what they want to say about Africa, because I really, really understand. Until you open your eyes and decide to see the real thing about Black people all over the world, you will never understand the greatness they hold. You will never understand that. So me growing up, I knew all African Americans were thugs. If they are not thugs, they are drug dealers. They're always moving with a gun. They're not somebody you can have an argument with. The moment you argue one T, somebody shoots you dead. All right, the biggest population, people in the prison, and a lot of mothers don't have, a lot of kids don't have fathers. I didn't even know African American women really go and have a real marriage. All right, and every African American man uses drugs and alcohol. In a lot, because this is what the mainstream show. And these are not the people you'd want to bring close to you. And it took me time. It took me time. I got to understand this society. First of all, traveling helped me get to meet different people and understanding the truth behind what I see. But I sometimes back, I was like questioning myself, like why? When I got to know the truth that of course there are people, of course, thugs are there, drug dealers are there. But before I start judging, I have to first to get to know why did we have a lot of drugs on the streets? Why did we have a lot of drugs in the streets of Black people, where Black people lived? Why did you have a lot of all that commotion and the violence going on? And I really understood that, and I got to know. And then meeting a lot of people coming from different places in the United States. I also got my father said he was here to teach the youth that we don't Sorry, I guess my network is a little bit on and off. So like I was saying, it is after going through all these phases, of course, of knowledge and understanding this whole system, I realized that it is so important for us not to get to know each other. It is so important. I can tell you this. If at all most African American knew, if at all most of these people knew or believed that they had a huge connection with Africa, and if at all Africans as well knew that they had a huge connections with the other Africans who are outside Africa, or those who have even never been here before, there we would see a very huge acknowledgement of each other. And when that happens, that means there is big progress within the Black people. Now, it was so important for us to have to look at you differently. This is one, and the different way is a negative way whatsoever. It was so important also for you not to wish, because truth to be told, we have not had from way back, we do not have big chances of a lot of African American accessing education and, of course, attaining good jobs compared to other people in America. They did not have that chance of even going to school and attaining a qualification and all that stuff. But of course, there is that mentality that was in the mind of the people. You were supposed to think that where you are probably is the best option and is the best place you can ever stay in, or is the best place you can ever live. All right. So this whole thing is the structure that was built to keep us less informed about each other, less informed about our capabilities. We had people travel to Europe, the US. Why did we have a lot of Africans traveling to the United States of America to do jobs that could be done by African Americans who were in America at the time? It is one thing to say that someone is going to do a professional job that these others probably did not have the chance to attain. But it is another thing for you to come and compete with the same people that have been here for centuries, and you are going to compete with them for the same job. All right. Now this is the whole thing. Okay. And I know it's a little bit, it's a little bit funny. So and absurd, really. And this is why I think most of the times I even see usually it is the Nigerians, other Africans, and some other African Americans always arguing all over social media, we don't need you here, and others are saying you are not educated to do this shit and all that. Why should you even have time to be arguing about these things? Why do you think you even have a right to come and start arguing about the things with the people you found in that place who have not been given a chance by the government to do whatever it is that you're doing that they can even do? All right. Because for you back home, probably you have your family, maybe they have something to eat and they don't. There is one thing I know for sure, that we have got a lot of poor people outside Africa. Africa is not the only place that is poor. All right, we've got a lot of poor people outside Africa. And why now do we see a lot of disrespect between the Africans who have traveled in places where there are other Africans who have been there? Why do we see that disrespect? Because the picture that was projected to us does not call for any respect, for sure. Because the moment you look at somebody and say, all right, now they have started with that nuisance, now he thinks he's going to do that. Because it is already at the back of the mind of Africans that you are meeting African Americans who are nuisances. Apart from the music you see, apart from you seeing the rappers, apart from you seeing the blue music, apart from you listening to whatever music you enjoy listening to, those people are nuisances. Now that's something that is at the back of the mind of a lot of people. And the moment when you're traveling to the United States, you don't have a picture in your mind that you're gonna meet white Americans who are gonna make life hard for you. The only people you know who are going to make life hard for you are the African Americans who are going to meet over there, because everything around him is violent. Now, this is their picture. This is the imagination. This is just our imagination that was created in the mind of the people. Now, if at all I'm biased, if I have that biasness, that means the moment you meet an African American, even if the person is saying hi and is lifting their hand up, and you're like, "What do you want to do?" You already start. All right, because at the back of your mind there is something that says this person can never be your friend. This person is a violent being. If you get close to that person, you're either going to jail, and a lot, and really a lot. So we should all know that at times when I look at people having issues, I know that, oh, sorry, they have not yet woken up. They are still sleeping. They don't know. They are still in the matrix. They don't really understand the real game. And what is going on is, of course, the effect of probably the what they have fed in their mind. All right. So a lot of Black people have innovated a lot of things, not only outside Africa, but also in Africa. Today, now, it is little for us to say that Africans have innovated like now, because like I always told you guys, we have sanctions that are put on Africa's innovation, and until some other countries comes and declares that, all right, Maria, what you've done is graceful, what you've done is good, they're never going to acknowledge that. We have got phones that have been innovated, phones that are working differently, by the way. But of course, you can never see these phones out there, because these phones are made by Africans and they have not credited these phones. And there is no one who is going to credit any Africa's product, because Africa is the biggest consumer. Now, if they keep on crediting your products, then what will happen to the other innovators outside Africa who are creating other things? So this is the biggest challenge. But throughout history, we've seen Black people do great things. We've seen greatness within the Black people from in all aspects of life, in all spheres of life. And we have also seen other innovations that have, of course, been innovated by Black people, but the credit was not given to the Black people, but rather the Bazungus. We have seen that. So it is very important, because once you get to know the intelligence you have, the creativity, and how blessed you are as an African or a Black person, then you can understand what you're capable of doing. It starts with self-respect and understanding oneself. And a lot, by the way, so when you get, have you ever had that feel? I don't know, maybe it's, but I believe most of people feel this way. When you get to see at least someone doing something great, there is a way you feel that excitement, like it has been done by you. You feel like it is me who has done this, because whoever has done that is somebody probably even if you're not so close, but you know this person, or maybe the person comes from where you come from. Each time you feel like you want to defend this person's work, because maybe even the person doesn't know you, but you have ever seen this person somewhere. Even maybe you may even have never said hi to this person, but because you know this person, there is that feeling you have, that excitement feeling you have. You get to know, okay, so it is that person who did this. I know that person, or this person comes from where I come from, or this person. So if at all, if only that can give you goosebumps, you getting to know that somebody who comes from where I come from did something, even if maybe you have not been part of it or not even having the capabilities to possess whatever that person has made. It gives you that feel, that excitement, all right, and the will and the thought that you can also do something. And now that is power. That is power. And now this power was cut off because not everyone is going to try and make research. Not everyone is going to take time and try to disagree with whatever they see on the mainstream or whatever that comes in or enters their ears. Not everyone disagrees with what enters their ears. There are others who are meant to be believing every time. That is a psychological way. There are people who question everything, whether it is the truth or not. They still be questioning. They just want to know, is this true or not? They have to find out. Anytime, even the obvious, they still want to find out. And there are those others who just believe. The moment you say something, they take it. Someone takes it. And another one has to argue and disagree everything. Whether it is right for them, they are meant to disagree. So, but the biggest population of people just take until someone else says otherwise. They will never question. They don't have time to think for themselves. They don't have time to do research. They don't have time to try and find out more, because there is no one who has ever given you enough information. There is not enough information in the world. There is always more information about something. But most of us always take this little information we have and then we know we are done. There is always more. And if you try to look for more, you find more. Although the Bible says, blessed are those who believe without seeing. And people who question, it is evil for you to question. I don't know whether it is evil for you to question the Bible or whatever, but okay. Because we may question and find the truth, I guess. But Black people have innovated a lot of beautiful and important things in the world. A lot of them. And they need the credit. We had there are a lot of untold stories that lie behind slavery. And during the days of slavery, we had a lot of Black people innovating a lot of things on the behalf of the Bazungus at that time. And I know they will never be credited for this, because at that time they were slaves to particular people who took credit for their work. And unfortunately, after innovating and successfully, of course, completing the innovation, most of them were killed and their entire families. And these people went ahead and declared and the innovation belongs to them and all that. I was trying to tell you, sorry, I can't remember because what was that? When was that? I don't know. I would have asked my mom, but she's a little bit far from me. She's a little bit far. You see, I have my mom servant. I don't know. She's a little bit far, so I'm not gonna ask her. There is a certain year. There is a certain year where a lot of Africans were taken. Okay, we are traveling to Europe, cheaply and would get quick jobs in Europe, and more especially UK. They would some of them were taken to stores, to factories and places where they would manufacture. But black people were not allowed to enter places of production or manufacture, because production is a chain. I don't know. I'm going to say the heart of production. Let me say. Most of them were always here at the finishing. You do the finishing touches, packing, sorting. Okay, sorting out, labeling, the packaging, and all that. They were not allowed to be, because it was told that if you let an African look at what you're doing, even if it's going to be for 1 minute, they're going to do the same thing. The next day, they'll be doing exactly what they've seen you do. So they had to keep them out of the heart of production, because they didn't want Africans to see how they were doing these things. And because if you look at the African history, let me say, for most of the things that people use now, except that someone will compare ancient times or days where people used to have some other equipments that may look a little bit local, or things that don't look so updated and stuff. Gas mask. Okay, yes. Carlion, go ahead. Heart surgery and transplant. All right. Carlion is trying to, of course, comment the things that the innovation black people have made. Air condition. Carlion, I had someone questioning the air condition. Do we have air conditions and all that stuff? So apparently air condition was made by a black person, and Mzungu was asking me about it. So you're actually proud of something that was made by a black person. Yes, please. Thank you so much, Kalian. Please. Thank you so much for those, for, of course, pointing out few, I will say few, few of the things that gas mask and traffic lights were the same man, Garrett Morgan. He hired to pretend to be Indian to sell them at the time. Wow. You see? This is exactly what I'm saying, what I was trying to say, Colin. So Garrett had to pretend that he's an Indian for him to sell the gas mask and the traffic light. There's something I'm trying to say. When Africans innovate things down here, there are sanctions that are put. You cannot put your thing on the market until the high authorities, who are probably the organizations that allow you to put the things on market. And if at all something has not been put on market, people cannot know about it, because what is the purpose of you doing something and it cannot be consumed by the people, right? So these are the things. So you see, Garrett had to pretend that he was Indian for him to sell the gas mask and the traffic lights. Because if people knew he was a black man, definitely they would not be. They will not buy. We know that okay, carbon filaments for light bulbs in 1818. Louis Letmore created it working alongside Edison to make the light bulb. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. But of course, the history of race in America and elsewhere was written as if technologies scarcely existed, and the history of technology as if it were utterly innocent of racial significances. We know that neither of those assumptions bear credibility. Now we know that a lot of African Americans and Africans elsewhere were never given credit to what they, of course, innovated first of all, the environment. We are just beginning to uncover the history of Africans and the African American technology. People are just beginning to understand the relations of the African American and their history to the full story of American invasion and innovation. Okay, a lot of people didn't know about this. Enslaved Africans carried against their will to America inevitably brought with them a store of technological knowledge, ways of doing things that they applied to the daily processes of life in this unfamiliar environment. Now that Black people have been in America since the earliest times, and despite the perception that they were merely a source of ignorant labor, they had an immediate impact on the technologies in the United States of America, applying traditional skills, creating something new, and altering the nature of still other practices that they found. Now, America turned to a new world the moment these people stepped in America. Of course, they introduced different cultures and technologies. Now, we know that until now, even if there is a common word that is used as the African American, but the African Americans themselves have a cultural diversity. Okay, and among the things there was technology. We have a lot of people in America, in the Caribbean, who behave differently from others entirely. So America itself has a diverse, they have cultures within them, though we categorize them as African Americans, but they practice their cultures differently according to the places where they are situated. And the technology there at that time also was quite a little bit different. If you're going to look at technology, I don't want us to be looking at you sitting behind your TV, because it's something people have to do, and you having your phones in the hands and you're scrolling, because the moment you mention technology, people will have that. But let me read the comments of Carlion before. People of the sun, or the original people of this land, that's why it does not hurt us. Some of us were in Africa, but America was ours as well. If you go back, you can see proof, but it is hidden. That's a comment from Carlion. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carlion. We know that increasingly we discover the African roots of many early craft activities. We know that West African culture was thoroughly woven into the daily lives of Carolinians. Most people living in the South Carolina practice or the West African culture is thoroughly woven in them. All right. Now, this is something I was telling a lot of Africans. We usually have these debates, and we're talking about a lot of people. African Americans are typically different. We have got people, unless you have little knowledge about Africa, but if you're someone who has, because not everyone in Africa has knowledge about Africa, by the way, you will never understand. But if we look at the people in the South Carolina, I'll call them the South Carolinians. Maybe that's British English. I don't know if you guys call them that. I guess these people have the West African culture thoroughly woven into their daily lives. That was during the colonial era. Nowadays, I think people have changed. Even in Africa, people have changed. Now, in South Carolina, slave houses were built with African building technology. This is something I was trying to mention before. If you look at the houses or the slave houses in South Carolina, if you look at the houses of the Black people in South Carolina, way back, these houses were built with African building technology. Okay. While in the Chesapeake region, evacuated clay pipes revealed the decorative techniques of West African pottery. All right. The study of early technology not only illustrates how African craft skills were incorporated into American technology, but how Africans were themselves incorporated into early American society. Now, the clay pipes and the pottery of the Chesapeake, for example, tell us something about the changing status of the changing status. There is a book that is called Tell Us Something About the Changing Status. If you read that book, it will elaborate to you. It will explain how a lot of things, of course, a lot of things were incorporated. Not even today, through the days, I know maybe most of us were not around at that time. This is why it is very easy for a lot of people to be debating about this whole thing, because the people who were there when the Black Americans were at their heights of existence in America itself, most of them are no more. To tell the stories, to tell the big similarities. Now, it is funny for us to be arguing, because even when you look now, a few people in Africa behave like Africans. Now, if at all it is Africa, where it is Africa, where you should be an African and you're behaving like a European, then put a question back. Then what are those people outside Africa, the Black people, the Africans outside Africa, how are they behaving? If at all this influence is so big that it has, of course, it has influenced the entire African system, then you can ask yourself now, how about those ones outside? How about those ones who are not in Africa? So there is, the people don't even know that these things existed. We know that we had, people don't mention, but during the days of African Americans trying to break free from slavery, we saw huge business people. We saw Black people creating what they call trade secrets. People getting to, nowadays people say we don't have stores. I always come across those things where a lot of African Americans be complaining about us. You're not supporting, we are not supporting each other's business. We need to create. Your grandfathers, your great grandfathers, when they were in America as slaves, when they were trying to break free, the reason why they had the will to try and fight, because you know very well that there were rebellions and there was no one who was going to sponsor, but people started dealing in businesses, which shows that even an African American now is a good businessman or is a good businesswoman. But of course, the system does not allow you to understand that. It does not allow you to understand that. It only allows you to understand the word of spending. Buy expensive shoes, even buy shoes that are talking about the shoes that are praising your mother. I remember when every black person wanted to wear Timberland shoes, not knowing what was actually behind this. Anyway, that's not the talk. But the structure or the system has designed the mind of the African Americans to only think they are there to spend. They are there to spend. I don't know. I don't know. I know black people all over the world love living good. No, this is true. It is not something. Africans love living good. They love eating good food. This is one thing that every black person loves all over the world. That's why a lot of black people be complaining a lot about food. Someone just says this food is now good, shared all the time, because they love to eat delicious food, and delicious food is expensive. They love to wear clean. I guess I guess Mzungu knew. They love to wear clean. They love to flash, like show off. I think this is the nature of black people. They love doing that. They love to show off someone's. They love to show off. Now, this is something that we are not going to debate about. I don't know whether the system is making this or that. I don't know. But I know naturally we were created wealthy people. And we are in as much as the society tries to of course scrap everything away from us, the nature does not allow us to be poor in the mind, in the heart, I guess. So I don't know whom to blame. But we had nowadays, I don't know, a lot of people, it is just of recent, by the way, that I've realized that a lot of some, not a lot really, African Americans are starting to own their own businesses. I don't know whether the system was not convenient, but for some good time, African Americans have been supporting, other people's businesses. And now we see people trying to, of course, call on others, support our business, stop going to Indian shops, stop doing this, stop doing that. We need to support each other. We need to do this. Yeah, it is a new thing. It was not a usual thing for you to go to a shop and find African Americans in the shop. So people just need to be reminded that, okay, we can also do it. You need to support us. And it is something that I guess people are still learning to do. I know some big businesses, people be having a barber shops where, of course, we had black men, I don't know, styling the black men's hair. That one was a business that existed. This is the business that was common, apart from the other illegal businesses. This was the business that almost any African American young man would wish to do. And this was a dream business. They knew this is what you're gonna do so quick. Have a barber shop where you're gonna be barbing. I'm sorry, my English is English. Don't mind me. Okay, where we're gonna be trimming or styling men's hair and stuff, and women who want to style their hair and stuff. This was something that everyone knew they would rush to do. It's the black man's business, having barbershops. Keith, you're welcome on our live.
Hey, I see. Oh, must have lost set. Was Central here today? I missed him.
Yeah, he was here.
Okay, trying to make sure I got the
He
right
was
number.
here.
Hey, Tim. Tim, if this is, tell me something real quick, Maria. If this is his right money, so I mean his right number, so I make sure I don't make a mistake and send it to that old number. Let me read this number for you real quick.
Okay. Okay.
Cause make sure old number. I should have erased it when I put the new one in here. They gave me the new one last week, but I didn't. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Let's go. Okay, the right number is used is going to be, of course, 265. It's going to be 7730-74870, right? That's the new one, right?
Yep. Yes.
All right. All right. So
Mhm.
let me send him the money that Jibba Jabba sent him.
Okay.
How you doing today, Maria? You good?
I'm good.
So what you guys' discussion today?
Untold innovations made by black people.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you got somebody named, what's her name? Corlina? What? Corlina?
Victor?
The person's name on here, his name is Corlino. I don't know. Person in your chat room, then
Or Carleon, I guess.
Corleono.
Yeah, maybe it's Carleon. I don't know. But
All right.
Carleon,
All right.
I don't
Go, Maria. You got it.
know. Jabba. We also had Jib Jabba in the house, but he left. We had Howard G. Yeah. And then the silent majorities. Keith, how are you feeling today? Are you
I'm a little
still fucked
better. Am I still fucked up?
up?
That's what Irritana Shimani was asking me earlier. You still fucked up? Because I was like, nah, not as bad as I was. I'm a little bit better.
Okay, that's good. You having cold?
Nah, I think I had the flu.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Unfortunately, it was the flu that got my ass.
Mm.
He said, I got you. Oh, read that number again to me. I got two. Okay, which one is it? Which one is it, Maria? Is
It is
the one?
two. It is. Let me read it.
Okay.
Plus 256.
Yeah.
All right. 7730
Okay.
74870.
That's the new one, right?
Yes.
Okay, I gotta get rid of this old one. Old one was 788 6. Okay, let me get rid of that shit there.
Yeah, no.
Almost messed up
Now
again.
that old one, he doesn't have that old one anymore. It is even not on the network.
Wow.
Mm.
Let me get rid of it. Edit. Save. It's not invalid. I know. I'm trying to delete it.
Oh, Jiba says that he's here. Jibba, how are you doing? You've been quiet all along, listening. How are you?
I would send
By the
Jibba
way,
Jabber's cash.
thank you
I
for
would have sent
reminding me.
I would have sent Jibba Jabber's cash to somebody else with that wrong number.
Oh, please don't do
I did,
it.
I just erased it, Maria. I just erased it. So I know I got the right one here. 773074870. So I'm sending it now because
Yeah.
that's what I was making sure. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, Jibba. Thank you. Thank you for surprising Innosetu. That was so kind
All right.
of
Okay.
you.
I sent I sent it to his I sent it to his goddamn I
Thank
sent
you.
it to his grasshopping ant eating ass.
I'm gonna call him and let him know.
Yeah, let him. Yeah, because I don't. He don't got his new number on WhatsApp. That's right. So yeah, call and let him know because. But hey, I just got some free money. You ain't getting no free money, niggas. Somebody sent you some money.
Thank you, thank you for that, for sure. Thank you. Bless your soul.
Bless your
Okay,
soul.
so
May you bless your soul. May you rot in hell.
as we say, people have helped me. Oh dear, thank you so much.
Shit. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Oh, but go ahead, Marie. You got it. I don't want to come in and our voice is still jacked up.
Just don't buy any cricket.
Yeah. Yeah, just don't buy any crickets with it.
It's not cricket season, and now I'm in the village. Even if he does, no one is gonna cook it for him. So I'm in the village. Oh sure. He's not gonna buy a cricket. He's not gonna do that. But thank you, Jiva, for sure.
Hope not.
And it's not gonna buy. It's not season for crickets, and then we're not gonna be eating that thing anymore because Kit says that it is harmful.
His parasites. Yes.
I'm gonna try and make some good research. Not that I'm arguing with what Kit said, of course, but
You
there
can
is
argue, always research.
there is a particular clan here that doesn't eat crickets. I want to see how old or what how their mentor works in their
Yeah, but
old
they might eat
age.
they might eat other fucked up shit because they're not eating the crickets, but if they eating some other kind of bugs, some other kind of crazy shit.
I
You
knew
can't just say they're
because
not eating crickets.
because I
Whoever
want
it.
to educate the Ugandans when I have proof.
Of course.
Because everybody's gonna be asking, like, how did you know, Maria? Like, how on earth and all that stuff. So
because bugs have parasites, and that's human people that's supposed to be eating bugs. Okay, that's how I know. Okay, bugs have parasites, and we've fallen so far in ignorance we think it's okay to eat fucking bugs. God damn. Shit. we sitting around in the house eating a plate of bugs, and we don't think nothing wrong with that shit. We all sit around eating a plate of bugs, and we're like, yeah, this, can I get seconds? And what? So me coming into your village, I'm going to offend you. I'm going to offend you because as soon as you give me a plate of bugs, I'm going to say, oh, Jack, oh, no, I don't get down like, I don't get down like this. Please try it. Please try it. We've been being hospitable. No, I just can't. I appreciate it, but no. So you're gonna be all offended and shit. It's no good bastard. We invited into our home, and now you won't eat our fucking bugs. I'm not eating that shit. No.
No, we have plenty of food.
That's what the kids are asking. Say, what do you mean they thought they got plenty of food? Everybody kids that. What do you mean they got plenty of food and they eating bugs? And I said, why are you choosing to eat bugs? You guys got plenty of fucking real food. I don't know. That's some strange culture that the people that part of Africa did. I don't know. I don't get that shit. I'm not eating no fucking.
But Kenyans still eat crickets.
Some of them probably do. Not many, they said. I don't know.
You ask
They said they don't know nobody eat no crickets and bugs.
They are denying that.
They said, that's what they said.
Ugandans don't eat bugs.
What do you think a grasshopper is? Ant.
They even eat the termites. I know.
Oh shit! Whoa! You guys eat termites too?
I can bring facts. I can bring.
Oh no! You guys eat termites? You guys? Wait! You guys eat termites? Hold on! Now we get completely crazy.
No, we are not going to discuss about.
Eating termites, grasshoppers, ants. God damn! Wow! And they're talking about the IQ of the South is slow because people in the American South eat pork. Hell, that's better than eating bugs, even though it's bad. They say, it's that Southern diet that keeps black people stupid. It's what you eat. But it has a cost on your mental capacity. People, so they call the black people in the South stupid because they eat a lot of pork and fried foods and shit, greases.
Listen to this.
Go ahead.
Kenyans, termites are eaten in Kenya as part of the traditional deity of some ethnic groups, particularly in the western provinces.
I told you the western part, right by Uganda. So they would share. Yeah, because they buy the same place where Ugandans eat that shit. So there was no Uganda in Kenya. It was just eastern.
First, listen. Insects have been eaten in Kenya for a long time, and other insects that are eaten include grasshoppers. Now, Kenyans are saying they don't eat grasshoppers.
Yeah, you said Western Kenya. That's by Uganda. Culture and shit.
Let me bring you another.
Damn.
Kupianjiti, let me say this. Let me get you another that is not in the western part.
God damn, motherfuckers are eating termites, all kind of shit. You ain't realize why your IQ all fucked up? Why you don't know what the hell's going on? Yeah, termite, it is monkey food, exactly.
Even don't crack, Homo. I ain't eating it.
That's what the monkeys do. Put their thing in there and they tongue and they put a stick. And that's also what an aardvark does. Eat termites and ants. You're a human being. You're supposed to eat that shit. What culture has descended so far down that started becoming a norm? Africans do thousands of years ago. You can't eat no damn bugs. and then Maria's got to go prove to them that bug eating is wrong. What? God damn. Damn. Yeah, damn. You got to go prove. You got to go, Jibba, you got to go prove to a motherfucker that bug eating is bad. God damn. You in bad shape there, Jack. Exactly. Question. Jibba's asking simple question. Why do you eat bugs? Was it from famine or are y'all just goofy? was it did you have nothing? There's plenty of food in Uganda though.
Not all Ugandans eat those things.
They got plenty of food in Uganda. Their land is very fertile. Jibba, so they don't got no excuse to be eating fucking bugs. I'm not. Yeah, that's because you ain't had no food. You have like a famine or something. You got no choice. That's like, I got no food. I mean, eat this bug and shit. Because you ain't got because you're suffering from a famine or something. Exactly. You wouldn't consciously decide to go out there and eat a bug. What? And then you wouldn't make that your traditions and culture because you know this is dangerous. You're like, what is doing you? What? You can't be bug eating for years. It causes problems in your body and your brain. That's why I'm a 70-minute power so long. Only brothers eating bugs. They don't know how to think.
Wait. Even your homeland, they eat a lot of insects. Congo is a home to a rich diversity of edible insects.
I know, they eat them. They're not edible.
Grasshoppers, crickets, ants, and beetles.
God damn. Beetles. You know what? You know what the ancestors knew. Let me explain this. Maria. So I'll make it spiritual. So ancient Africans knew you couldn't eat that shit. All forms of eating is energy, Maria. The lesser form of energy, it means is lower in vibration. So you're not supposed to eat unclean food. Just like they took our things they put in the Bible. Even the Bible says you can't eat insects and unclean things. Not that it takes you away from God, your vibration. It lowers your vibration. They only took African spirituality and put in their Bible. That's why I had an eating code in the Bible. You couldn't eat things that walked around on the ground like bugs and shit because that's a lesser form of light. You got to eat the most purest form of light, vegetables and fruits, because you got to get the most light from the Creator. You're not supposed to be eating bugs spiritually because it's a lesser form of light. Africans always knew that, because everything is spiritual. So that's why those teachings end up in a goofy Bible, but certain things you can't eat. You can't eat bottom feeders and things that eat on the ground and all that kind of. It has a problem. It destroys your IQ level, your intelligence level, because you're not supposed to be eating it. It's an eating code. Africans always knew that. Now we've fallen so far in intelligence, and eating that shit makes us even stupider. That's why the South is stupid in America. They're not eating bugs, but they're eating all kind of pig fat, bacon, fat back, hog head, chitlins, guts of pigs. That shit is all garbage. It's lesser form of life. You can't eat that. You can eat the shit, but is it good for you? No. Like the bugs ain't good for you. We're not supposed to eat all that filthy ass pig. The pig, like Joe, them eating intestines. I said, Joe, but you can't eat that shit. Oh, it's really nice. Americans eat that dumb shit. Always say it's really nice, nice. You can't eat pig intestines. That's a lesser form of life. You're eating shit. You understand? You're eating doo doo. No matter how much you clean it, there's minuscule bacteria of shit on that thing. You can't eat that. That lowers your IQ. Can't eat that shit. But the black Americans had to, because what? Because of slavery, they were forced to eat that shit. But when they got out of slavery, they said, "Hey, we gotta leave this shit alone. We can't just make no soul food out this shit." You got people in the South still eating that shit. It stink all bad. They cook it in the house like, ah man, they ain't never ate that shit. I'm not eating no pig intestines. Eat nobody doo doo. Gut eater. But that stuff has a direct inflection on your brain. You can look this up on your computer. They say out of the South, the dumbest part, the lowest IQ in America they are. It's the diet. Your diet also has a factor on how intelligent you're going to be. Because you're not supposed to be eating a lower form of light. It's lesser form of light. So it's going to make you stupid. High form of light is fruits and vegetables. You know,
Yeah,
you can't be eating a bottom feed is a damn, like you're not supposed to be eating shrimp. All that shit that comes out the sea. It's a bottom. It's a okay. A shrimp. You know, people eat shrimp and what they call shrimp in Africa. They call them shrimp too. Shrimp and stones. A stone is nothing but a goddamn insect of the sea. You can't eat that shit. An insect. You're not supposed to be eating crabs. It tells you in the Bible. Crabs and lobsters. That's an insect of the sea. It's just a sea insect. If the Bible's telling you can't eat the sea insect, you can't eat this insect on the ground either. That's what a crab is. It's an insect of the sea. That's what it's another one they love to eat in the South. Crawfish. That's an insect of the sea. It's a roach. Motherfuckers eating roaches and shit. My wife's family said, "Ooh, crawfish." I'm like, what? Me not being from the South, I'm like, what's this shit here? There's a table full of bugs. I wish Seth was he could show you, he could share. So they're just no good. They eating tables full of bugs, sea bugs called crawfish. They're like, ooh, I said, I'm not eating that shit. Why you don't want to get in and get some of these crawfish? Them bugs? Those are bugs. Nah, I'm not eating none of that shit. Oh, nah, we lost her. Yes, the roaches. See, yeah, she went down. That's why I just looked. She was quiet. We lost her. I don't know if the end is gonna come back or not. Wrap this shit up. Yeah. Motherfucking table full of bugs. They spray all that shit on the table like, what? I suck the head. I grab the head and suck the blood. I suck the head. Like, what? Suck the head? No, I'm not eating that shit. Whole table full of bugs. You got me fucked up. Nope. Call them what you want to call them. Crawfish, not a fish. That's a bug. It's a bug of the sea. It's a roach. Call it. You can make it a fancy name. Crawfish. No, that's a fucking roach. That can swim in the water. It's a roach. I'm not eating that shit at all. So like, oh man, no, not eating that shit at all. I don't want to use too much of my voice. I'm still recovering, so let's see if Maria can make it back in 10 minutes. I don't know how I've been on for a long time. Does it tell me how long they was on here? Oh shit, they've been almost 3 hours. I got it late, so they're not gonna make it back, guys. I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. Talk to you, Jibba Jabba and Colonioni, whatever your name is. I'm going to wrap this up, guys. I'm out. Peace, guys. Yeah, I sound a lot better. I sound a lot better, Jibba Jabba. Friday, the weekend, man, I was fucked up. I was messed. I couldn't talk. I was coughing. I was messed up. So I'm a little bit better. I'll holler at everybody later. Everybody have a good day. Peace.